Hey everyone, welcome back to Blind Builds, our new series here on the channel where we go over some new ride lines and support for them and just blindly build a first impression deck based on them. So if you guys missed the first video, it'll be up in the over wherever. But today, we're going back to my days of playing Magic and like every other card game because red decks win. That's right, we're talking about some Dragon Waifus. So make sure to grab some Raise Energy using code SKYRAGE to save you 15% off, of course. I got some grape bubblegum today. It's one of my favorite flavors. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. And let's go ahead and dive on in. Alright, so Dragon Nation means that we're only going to be covering Dragon Empire today. There's 2 decks. I know there's 3 decks in Empire, but there's 2 that go with the theme, and we'll see the other one in another video. So make sure you subscribe to that. But, although Amelia is taunting me right here, she's like one of the coolest cards in the new set. We're not talking about Nirvana today. Let's talk about this dragon. I mean, we're going over Bavsagara first. Ooh, let's use new fancy ones. Alright, so Dragon Mommy has 2 different skills. First of all, when this unit is armed, you can soul charge 1, choose a grade 1 or less from your drop zone, and call it to rearguard. Then, if this is armed with 2 or more cards, I don't know how it's getting more than 2 yet, but future-proof, I guess. Soul Blast 2, retire all of your opponent's front or rear guards, and this gets +1 crits. So, for the first effect, you get some recursion or whatever, and the second, this is Gauntlet Buster the waifu. Literally just retire stuff and gets a crit, that's Gauntlet Buster Dragon. Of course, you can't play Bavsagara without her son. Let's place in back row center from drop zone, you can countercharge 1. Then it does the thing where when it boosts, only for this deck, I don't know why they give it a keyword, but whatever. But when it boosts, this gets +10 for each of the things that you have armed to your Sealed Maiden, Bavsagara. So he gets to be a big boy. You make big boy columns. But I think it's only a 3 attack deck though. Not sure if there's any restanders in here unless you cheat. But yeah, countercharger that lets you restand is good. Like you could also do tech as a starter in other decks. I don't know how you're gonna do that. I'm just gonna put 3 in for now. We'll just look at her weapons while they're here. I guess we'll give her one of each. We'll give her one of each until I decide to change it. I know some of these don't get played as often, but some of them do. We're just gonna do one of each for now. Alright, get onto her ride line. So we get through that in real quick. This is one of the decks where the starter actually matters, so we gotta use this guy. Where's my seals? Where's my seals? Alright, so for her grade 1, we're using Sealed Dragons, and this is the Sealed Dragon deck. Welcome back, boys. Got 2 effects. The first one's the only one that matters. When you ride it from the dude, Soul Blast 1, search your deck for up to 1 sword or shield. I'm not gonna say this full words, it's just a sword and a shield. Add your hand and then shuffle your deck. So just automatically replace itself with the weapon, and then rearguard it gets +2 in attack, so who cares about that. Then the grade 2 says that it was placed from the grade 1, choose arms from your drop zone, put it into your hands. You basically just discard your arms for the ride line and get it right back. And when if it attacks, if Vanguard's armed, +5. Medium, I mean it's 15k though, so that's numbers I guess, maybe if there's room, I don't know. Alright, on to new cards, shall we? So this guy looks like a Sealed Dragon. When it's placed on rearguard, perform all of the following according to your stuff that's armed currently. Right arms, it gets +10 till turn. Okay, it's 20k beater. And left arms, count +1, choose a grade 1 from your drop zone and call it. Okay, so this is Bavsagara? This is Counterblast for when you place an arm to get a thing back. This is Bavsagara ×2. Another way to get back your trick man. That's not bad. We like that. We like that. Looks like there's 2 more Sealed Dragons. We got this grade 2 here when it attacks +5 for each arms on your Vanguard. So he's gonna get up to +10. That's not bad. I mean, I feel like this guy does it a lot better because he just automatically does it, but options. Then the last new Sealed Dragon is another one that's according to where your arms are placed. So right's gonna get +5, left gets intercept. Okay, so you have a grade 1 with intercept that could be a 13k. This feels free. I don't think there's anything that grants back row intercept for Dragon Empire, but like, it's the fact that you can just use it as a 13k interceptor and is a 13k booster on your big boy swings. That's not bad. It's not bad. I'm literally just looking at the Sealed Dragons. This was one of our good grade 3s from the last set, I believe. Bavsagara is actually one deck that like I never got the chance to build yet, just because I didn't want to own every single deck under itself. It looks fun, I want to build it, I do want to build it eventually. So, what's placed on rearguard? If your Vanguard has 1 arms, counterblast 1, choose arms from your hand to drop, arm with 2 on your Vanguards. Free arms, that's great. And you get some back from drop them as well. It's really good. Rearguard, if you have 2 more arms +5, 80k beater, not bad. I think we just run 4 of these by default. I think you just automatically run 4 of it. It's a cycler. Grade 2, misplace, discard arms, draw gets +5. I feel like there's better options now. I mean, Cycle Draw is nice, especially because you have the Grade 3 we just talked about, but I don't think you want a Cycle Draw. We might run one. We'll see. Alright, it's +2 for each of your cards on Vanguard. So that's 7, 9, 11, 13 math. That's the same thing as the grades 1 from the new set we just talked about, but this one doesn't have a cost. However, it's a 7k, which is automatically worse because you're not going to be hitting your numbers. We got a couple cards from the trial deck. Place Counterblast 1, choose an arm from your drop, put in your hands. Meh. And when it boosts, discard arms, draw a card. I mean, if we have the ability to cycle enough, that'll be worth it. But I don't think we're gonna have cycle enough. Actually, I just had a really stupid idea. I don't know, because there used to be an engine with Trickstar. There used to be the Trickstar engine because Bavsagara can call any grade 1 or lower. And I guess the grade 2 does it too? But I just think like with all support now, you won't be able to do it. Oh, too bad. This is such a funny card to run. This is such a funny card to run in any deck that you can fit it in. This used to be run, just when someone's retired, Counterblast 1, Soul Charge 1, retire something, get +10. Not bad, I mean it helps double up on your retire ability, and Soul is an issue in this deck, so he might be worth running. This card is really good for this build, but I kind of want to show it off the next one, so I don't know if it's going to have a place in here. But just know that when you attack, goes to Soul, give you Vanguard +5, which is huge, because Soul matters in this deck, and he is a recyclable unit because of his other ability. When something's retired, guess what you can do in this deck? Counterblast 1 and call it to the rear card circle. So he's not bad. Like, he definitely goes in if we have room for it, but if we don't, it's going to go in the other deck we play that. Maybe on this one, it's really good for the ride deck, but that's about it. Maybe on this one, it helps you get Personalized, but it's going to cost a Counterblast. We'll have to look at costs. I kind of like him for this build. I kind of like it because it gives you crit pressure. By going to Soul, it gives you Vanguard crit if your opponent has stuff retired or whatever. And he goes to Soul, so helps out with your Soul costs and gives you more pressure. It's basically you swing for a triple crit at all points of time. So that's kind of horrifying. I think that's basically all that we need. Alright, here's all the pieces that we got so far. So I click on these boys or whatever. So let's talk about the weapons. I haven't actually talked about what actually makes this deck so far. The sword. Play with a Soul Blast 1. When armed, your arm gets +10 during your turn. Then in that battle, if your opponent has 4 less damage, Counterblast 2, put in drop zone, deal the 1 damage. So this is a burn effect. Your other offensive arm is the spear. Counterblast 1, when placed, draw a card, you may play an additional arms this turn. So let's do double arm turn 1, which is great. Then during your turn, +10, this is basically another version of the sword that lets you double arm. The best one. Soul Blast 1 to shoot someone, then Counterblast 2, shoot him again because you get another drive check. Pew 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 pew. And if you just run it, you're always going to get it with your ride deck no matter what. Because you're going to run the 1 copy, and unless you somehow damage it before you start your ride phase, you will have this ready at all points in time. Counterblast 1, once per turn, when you get attacked, you can get a +10. So it's like a free trigger on one of your attacks. I really want to run the gun. Let's see if we have room for it. I think I want to do 3 Trick Moons for now. It's a really good card, but I mean, we're only going to have 1 behind the Vanguard at any point in time, and 2 others that we'll need for boosters, so 3's fine. It also gets replaced by this dude for being a 13k booster. Not as good. He doesn't hit, what, 25 that Trick Moon does, but that still gives you numbers. That's a trial deck card. So I want to look at costs for everything. Soul Blast, Soul Blast, Soul Charge, Soul Blast. So that's -1. Counterblast goes to Soul, Counterblast, Soul Blast, Soul Blast. Neutralizes, goes to Soul, Counterblast. Soul Blast, Counterblast, Counterblast, Soul Blast. So we're kind of all over the place. Trick Moon is definitely going to help for our counter charger. Do we need a Soul Charger? I don't think... We're going to sacrifice him. If we have to run one of the Stealth Dragons, I'd rather run the Togurashi. That helps us recover for our first 3 rides. That said, we're only going to have like 2 rides ever that matter for him. So I'm just going to click on the 2. If we don't hit him, we don't hit him. But I mean, if we do, we do. It's a plus, we get it basically. I think... For the sake of deck space, I'm going to go 3 on this grade 3 and 3 on the spear, because they both effectively do the same thing to let you equip stuff. Actually change plan there. We're going to maximize him and run 2 spear. I like spear, it does let you draw a card, which is great, but this lets you get your thing from anywhere, so it automatically guarantees that you're going to be on there turn 1. That said, because that... Sorry, Toga, we have more options. I don't think the random 2 of is really going to matter because we're going to be trying to get on our double equip by turn 1 because that's your win condition. So I want to maximize our chance of doing that. And that means that we can discard these guys for Ride-Line and not get crap because he will get them right back. I mean, I guess we have to run this over that because this has multitude of skills. And that's really the only reason that I have for it. It has multiple skills. Let these two do the same thing for it being a 20k attacker. Shika. I like it only because we were just talking about putting arms in drop zone. Only because of that for the grade 3. So we might still run it. If I do, it's going to be like a 2-up or something like that. And this is going to be our primary booster. This is Trick Moon. I think we could actually... Do we want to run 4 of it? I kind of want to run 4, just for the sake of seeing it more often. But at the same time, I don't think we need to run too many of our grade 1 and lower cards. Just because Bavsagara and the grade 2 will both recover them. So I think 3 is fine until we have to remove some cards. Maybe. Sad part is I feel like this will be the first card we toss. But I do like him for his control. I really like him for doubling up on your control, because that's one of the best things Bavsagara does. And then he becomes a 20k beater, which means with your 13k booster, that's a 33 column. That is pretty hot, because no matter what, it's a card guard, even if they have the 20k shields. Alright, let's go down and check our triggers. Alright, so standard everything. For this deck, do we need draws? I'm not sure. I feel like you run draws just for sake of running draws. Like, it's a good thing to do. You just have them. We are running a decent number of orders in here, plus the grade 3s, which have no shields, so this helps to keep up with it, to be able to add more cards to your hand. And you do want to be able to fish for this correct pieces, so we're going to max out the draw in this deck. We'll max out draw. Crits. I don't think we need extra crits in this deck. Like, I'd love to just to scare him at any point in time, but again, like, between Bavsagara and the Triceratops, we're going to be swinging for basically 3 crits every turn, and that should be scary enough on, so once we hit them to the point where they're at 3 damage, every attack is going to be a PG or GG. So I don't think we need to pressure him any earlier than that, which frees up room for a couple of 20k shields. Alright, we gotta get rid of a couple cards. Let's see what we can afford to take out here. Alright, hear me out on 2 Trick Booms. I like it at 3. It feels very safe to see it at 3, but this part's important. Its first skill, the important one, when it comes from drop zone, you countercharge 1, that only goes in behind your Vanguard. So all of your other things that are going to get a plus power on them, like this guy, or this guy that enable your Vanguard to swing even bigger, they can be placed anywhere, but he has to go behind the Vanguard. I think he's enough. I think the last major change we're going to make is we will go ahead and run Travis over this guy, the drop and draw, simply because I do want to double up on Bavsagara's retire effect and be able to snipe back row if you need to. 51. I know how we go down to 50. I don't like going down to 50. I don't want to go down to 50. Pew. Alright, so here is our Bavsagara. Basically, with the main grade 3 skill, you can be able to constantly revive cards. You can be able to constantly revive your grade 1s lowers and also retire stuff. So we're trying to maximize that with things like Trick Moon and What's Your Name that give us extra power-ups. And things like Orlando that can pop in and out of Soul. In addition to that, to help build Soul, we got Triceratops that also gives you crit, making your double crit even more intense because you're now swinging for a triple crit every turn. And Orlando, who not only gives you a Soul Charge, but doubles up on her retire effect, lets you remove back row stuff. In order to accelerate your win condition of having arms, we got this little dragon right here, whatever your name is, Darla. And the spear that help you accelerate number of orders that you play every turn. And we're going with 5. I'm not sure how safe this feels. I like 5 because it gives you room for the pieces that you need to run. Speaking pieces, we run 4 draw triggers. Like, we're just doing 4, 3. We're doing a pretty standard rainbow, 4 heals, 4 draws, 4 crits, 3 fronts. Yay. And finally, subsidizing this deck with a couple of beefy boys, because this is a 3-attack deck, but it's a 3-attack deck that makes numbers. This gets a plus 5. That gets a plus 10. That gets a plus 10. That gets a plus 5. That gets a plus, like, 20. So basically, you only got 3 attacks, but they're going to be swinging for a good 33 to 43k each, and that's without saying anything like a Persona Radio trigger. It could be hitting big numbers and retiring a bunch of stuff. So that's basically the theme of the deck, is just to control and make things huge. Deck name, I forgot, I didn't do this in the first video. I'll go ahead and post these online, so if you see this deck code, go ahead and copy it. There you go. We'll call it Gauntlet. Gauntlet Waifu, because she is the right here, Gauntlet Buster Dragon. Alright, so here's your deck code, FQZK. Copy that, or I'll post it also in the description. And let's go ahead and move on to deck number 2. Okay, continuing with the Dragon Nation of Dragon World, there's another card that I want to show off today. Another waifu. It is not Amelia, but she is a waifu of Dragon Nation. It is the one that says you're a furry. So Tamayura is the glitter deck for Dragon Empire, and it has two basic effects. First of all, during the beginning of your ride phase, this card gets, so this card itself, not like enabling our effect, but this card itself gets, all of your front row gets +5 until end of turn. This is kind of like how Final Rush works, it's kind of like how Persona Ride works, that just is active the entire turn. So even if you call something new to front row, it'll get that +5. And speaking of calling other cards during your turn, her other effect, when it attacks, counterblast 1, perform one of the following. Either you can choose a card from your soul and call it to rearguard, or you can call the twins out of soul. The twins I'm of course speaking of are Remory and Remory. These two are your crossover cards for the nation, and they are Nightmare Dolls. Do not tell me otherwise, they are literally Direful Dolls. Direful Dolls are Nightmare Dolls from the future. This is my Nightmare Doll deck. We're back, baby. So the twins each specialize in having effect when they see each other when they come out of soul. When you play Rim and she sees Ram, you soul blast 2, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, put it in the soul. And for the opposite way around, if she sees Rimmery, you can soul blast 2 to draw a card. Most of the time you're going to be setting up for Rimmery and just drawing a card, but it's nice to know that you do have that spot removal if you need it, and that is a go to soul removal, so it's not like a retire, binder, anything like that. It's a little weird, it's a little situational, you're not going to use it that often, but like I said, the option is there if you need it. In addition to that, they have a super fair effective glitter that when they guard, if you're Tamayura, which you're going to be Tamayura, that they go to soul. This means you guard with them always. This means you intercept with them always. This means that secret tech against the deck, I shouldn't be saying this right now, but if you ever see one of these dolls on the board, you just attack it. You attack it, you find ways to get rid of it, because that is the way that you beat this deck. But it also means that you just run 4 of each straight up, no questions about it. They exist to go to soul and come out and do cool things. And speaking of cool things that you can do with them, how about the grade 2 that says when placed by riding over the thing, you can grab one of the dolls from your drop zone and add to hand. Seem familiar with another grade 2 we talked about? And then the grade 1 for the ride line says when placed by riding over the grade 0, check your top 7 for up to one of the 2 twins, or a Fox Art card, reveal them, and put in your hand. So you have, your ride chain basically says, when you ride grade 1, you get to check top 7 for one of the dolls. This one says you can discard a doll and give right back. And then, of course, your grade 3 just says you call them out of soul. So you can be doing a lot of dancing with the 2 dolls. Just how any great performance at the Pale Moon Circus should be. So we just mentioned Fox Arts. I should talk about the Fox Art. This is the order for the deck. It is a blitz order, so you play it during your opponent's turn if you didn't realize the difference between blitzes and normals. Normals you play on your turn, blitzes you play on your opponent's turn. But Soul Blast 2 if you have a Tamayura Vanguard. Choose one of your opponent's Vanguards, and until the end of the turn, it gets, so once again targeting the card, not the field currently, all of your opponent's front row gets -10 until end of turn. Any of your old players remember this little card called Shiryuki? This is Shiryuki as an order, and it makes me want to play Shiryuki again. This is really good. I mean, not only is it a blitz order that's actually viable, but the whole fact that you get a -10 to front row is amazing. Like, this basically goes down 1 trigger, so they have to start calculating numbers, and a Persona Ride is completely neutralized. So really good. Unless your opponent's playing front triggers, this is going to be shutting down a lot of attacks. In addition to that, we have a couple of support cards for the deck. This is like one of my favorite new cards in the set, honestly. Stealth Fiend Forktail, who I thought was Folktail for the longest time until I realized she literally just has 2 cattails. When placed on rear guard, you may check your top 7 for any normal unit with Stealth's name or glitter, and put it into your soul. Then shuffle your deck. Seems kind of mediocre at first because it goes to soul, but don't forget, you like doing stuff with soul in this deck. You like to do stuff with soul in this deck. It's basically Dark State with how much you do soul with. And your other soul cycler. When it's placed on rear guard, Soul Blast 1, choose an unit with Stealth's name or glitter, and put it right back in the soul. So this is your soul swapper, guarantees you have the piece that you want. Some serious Jurassic Park in here. At the end of the battle, put them in the soul, choose one of your rear guards, it gets +5. Helps beef up your multi-attacks, because guess what, you're multi-attacking off Tamayura. You know, if Forktail added the hand and just go to soul, this would be super tempting to run as your perfect card over the good one. Unfortunately, there's a chance you can soul charge this off of the things, and, you know, you want them in your hand. This is the deck I was talking about Dustin for. Since you're effectively resetting your board whenever your Vanguard attacks, it's really nice to shove him in soul, just get that extra +5 on top of your other buffs that you're getting. So like him plus Tamayura's skill will be a 23k for free. And in addition to that, that also builds your soul for soul-based abilities. So I kind of like him, but he's only going soul once because you're not going to retire cards for his first effect. Alright, since we have 2 new cards that let you soul charge stealth cards, let's go ahead and look up some stealth stuff. Heal triggers one. That's funny. It's 19k beater. Not bad. 15k beater. Slightly worse. That's funny. That's funny. Oh, hey, I remember you. Actually, like, these 2 are Eugene cards? That's a Eugene card? That's Eugene. Oh, God. Forktail might be an engine for Eugene. I think if anything, we're probably gonna run the Tension instead, just to search our Persona rides. Alright, let's see what we got. I almost legitimately forgot to put starter in. So, good news, bad news? Good news, after putting things at the ratios I think they'd be at, we're at 50 cards. Bad news, 17 triggers. Let's fix that. I mean, this is easy enough. I just put in generics for both the crit and front. I feel like, because of her ability to call cards out of soul, and with this being a 4 to 5 attack deck, front triggers will be more useful. So let's go ahead, axe the generic crits. That said, that means we bump this girl up to 4 definitely. Then we'll have to change a couple of other things up by generic draw. I think we need to ditch one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, if we run the rainbow this way, then we just get rid of this. But I kind of want, do we want another front? We might have another front. I kind of want this one in here just because it does have stealth in its name as well to help you soul charge it. But I feel like you're still going to want a couple draws in the deck just to make sure you get the right pieces. It's actually perfect. Gives us 49, we'll be at 50 once we add a single card in here. Alright, so that's max, that's max, that's max. 2, 3. We only ever need 3 of this just because it's going to have 3 copies of Persona around the deck. 2, we could up him maybe? It's at 4. Let's see, that's up at 4. Oh my god, I forgot perfect guards. Yeah, I think I forgot to click on it because we were talking about the Stealth Dragon one. Alright, we gotta take some out now. Let's see, so we're 3 over. What's 3 cards we can take out? Can we ask for an order? I don't know how I feel about running a full set. Quick peek behind the curtains, I do have this deck currently built, so this is, well, this is the first impression build. This is our blind build for the series. I will tell you right up that I am currently running 3 copies of this in the deck. Because I think that while it's great, while it is defensive wing con, and you are a very tanky deck if you need to be, you'll see it enough at 3. You're able to see it very easily off cards like Wave 1. And Soul Blast 2, your soul's not as juicy as you want it to be, because you're often going to be calling out 2 out of soul with this, or using 2 for one of these 2 effects if you want to use them. That said, we do have a couple things to replace it, like that, Dustin, and Forktail, so our soul's decent damage, but I just think 4 is overkill. Alright, still 2 over. This could come down to one of our 2-ofs. Why am I not counting? The ratios are right here. We're even on our 2s and 1s. I think I feel so bad doing this. I want to get rid of him. If I had a choice, I'd want to get rid of him. Like, he's amazing, he's our soul swapper, and it guarantees that we have the right pieces. But ultimately, he is a front row unit with intercept. A lot of the times our front row is going to be flooded with these 2 girls, the dinosaur, and that don't know where we're going to have room to place them, basically. Dustin, I feel like we can maybe axe Dustin just because we include him in the other build of the deck, just for diversity's sake. But at the same time, it's really good to get that +5. You counterblast, you counterblast. You counterblast, but you're never going to use your counterblast effect. Honestly, like, counterblast is fine here. We don't need to worry about that resource too much. The biggest one's soul. And let me see, so that goes in soul, that's +1, +1. Well, that evens out. +1, +1. -2, -2, -2, 1, +1, -2. We have a decent amount of soul play in here. So I think we're okay with our resources in general. It really does come down to these 2. I guess. I like having the Dustin tech in here, honestly. Alright, so for the sake of diversity and keeping our engine as consistent as possible, we are going to ditch Dustin. But no, this card is great for this deck. Alright, we got Standard Cherokee right here. Let's go over the deck real quick. Like I said, your main skill is that you're going to be able to pump out up to 5 attacks per turn, trying to utilize the dolls if possible. If not, you do have other options like the dinosaur that helps you buff up your extra attacks. That said, these numbers will be pretty big because she is going to give them all +5. In addition to that, that will stack with your Persona Ride. So if you do have a Persona Ride turn on her, everything you play is going to get 15. This turns the girls into 25k attackers. You could literally field a grade 1 to swing 23 and then call over it. Or you could be a funny guy, call down a heal trigger to swing for 20. This means you're a very aggressive deck, You could easily start swarming from turn 1, turn 2, depending on which cards you pull, but don't forget that if you do play a doll, you want to make sure you intercept with it. You want the thing off the field before your opponent can kill it. That said, you have ways to get it back thanks to this guy, and honestly, I kind of want to run that 3 just in case you are too aggressive, but I mean, you can mess with your numbers if you need to. Like I said, this is just trying to be as consistent as humanly possible with this resource pool. Finally, we are pretty late on Counterblast, but I do like this guy in here just because he gives you a on-hit pressure skill that you can use somewhere in your wave of 5 attacks to search for your Persona Ride. Deck thing, deck winning, plus 15k is pretty sweet. Deck name. What we call Furry Shiryuki without getting demonetized. I mean, I guess she's kind of a Ninetales, so there's only one thing I can think of. Deck code on this one, K6A3E. We could post it down below, of course, or just copy this and you'll see a thing that looks like that. And it'll take you to a page that looks like this. God, I wish I could highlight these names. Honestly, I kind of like this. So there's our builds for today. What do you guys think? Of course, as always, comment down below. How did I mess up everything? What are some cool decks you'd want to run here? And why is Tamayura one of the best decks in the current English format? As always, if you guys enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to leave a like to let me know that we're doing good here. And maybe subscribe if you're new. We are getting pretty close to 100, and I do want to hit triple digits at some point. Tiny amount of clout. Of course, if you do want to help support us here on the channel, you can either check out my TCG player store where I do sell plenty of Vanguard stuff along with other card game things, or maybe buy some Raise Energy. They got some good flavors and some other stuff that's not energy drinks. You could use code SKYRISH to save 15% off on any of your online orders. Thank you guys for checking this out. Next time we'll be covering, let's see, I think I want to do some Keter. We haven't touched that nation yet. And until next time, always embrace the infinite. See, we talked about, this is Tamayura right here. This is literally Tamayura. We got the fire thing and we got Nightbird Dolls.